Hello future tech leaders, I'm Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
Go into the setup part right now. Alright, if I navigate to before we get onto the setup, I want to discuss about the file cabinet as well. If you go into this documents file cabinet, right, this is where you will actually place all the documents required. Which means there are certain templates like the CSV templates that you want to provide it to the customer. Right. Email templates, CSV templates, all these things can actually be saved here. No, when you're doing the implementations, you will not send any information across the emails. Everything is, saved in this particular file cabinet option. Whatever templates, templates like this, these are called the CSV templates, right? The templates like this are placed in the file cabinet. The customer picks up the blank templates from there. They will fill in the data. And after filling in the data, they would put the templates back into the file cabinet. The consultants, take the templates from there. They do the data scrubbing and import that into the system. Right. You can actually create your own folders. You can copy the files. You can delete the files. You can move the files across. And this file cabinet will the customers, the stakeholders from the customer side and the consultants. Both of them will have access to these file cabinets that you see here. If there are any suite apps installed, they will be visible here. This is the images folder that I have spoken about last time, wherein you can import all the images and then put them up as a logo over here. You have the user documents which can be updated here. Letter templates, mail merge folder, all these things. You can actually update them here. That's about the file cabinet. You can have your templates. The template categories. These are the email templates. Like there are certain standard email templates which are there as part of next week bundles. Right. The standard transaction email template, standard payment transaction template. All these things will be there. Alright. The fax templates. These are the letter templates, PDF templates, marketing templates. All these templates are already available. And you can make certain changes on those templates as well, like clicking on this customize option. Good morning. How are you? No, that's fine. Are you talking to me, Toby? No, I'm good. You're good. That's great. That's about the file cabinet. Now let us go on to this setup page. There is a setup manager as well. It will navigate you to the same page again. Everything will be listed down. The company accounting on the left hand side, whatever you see here right under company accounting, HR information, performance management. Everything will be visible on this Setup Manager page. Let's go into company and company information. When you start your implementation right, the first thing that anybody does is they install the bundles. For various industries on NetSuite, you have warehouse and distribution marketing, you have services, you have footwear and apparel, food and beverages. For various industries, there are different options available. All they got to do is they have to go into this Suite Bundler, search for those bundles and install them. And this is where you will have the installed bundles. Like in customization, if you go here, you can search and install the bundles. Let us say I want to install the fixed assets management, right? I can search. With those keywords, I can go into this advanced option. And then I can search for the fixed assets management bundle, which is mostly installed. Like, a number of installs are going to be a lot more than 2000 to 500 installs. And that is the right bundle that you would have to install for the fixed assets management. Are you saying that those bundles are not going to come out of the box when you buy the application? That's right. The fixed assets bundle will not be available as part of the vanilla version and also the electronic payments. Let us say electronic payment, right? You can search for that. And that is a bundle that you have to install for that as well. Electronic payments EFT, something like that. There will be a bundle or suite approvals. There are a certain bundles which will not be available as part of the standard bundle which is installed on NetSuite. Standard bundle will have purchases, will have sales and will have manufacturing. And all these things also have to be enabled. There is something called as enable features, which we will look at it in a little while. When you go to your company and enable features, this is where you have all the enable features available. That's where you have to disable certain things. Once the bundle is installed, once the standard bundle is installed, then you will set up this particular page. Alright. Well, you will set up this. Thanks for having us much. The idea is that trustee will need your abilities. That's a lot. You're ideal to engineer to help them. And you update your EN number, your SSN number. And this is important. You see this account ID. This is the account ID which you will provide to the support rep. Whenever you call your support, NetSuite support, right? There is an option to contact the support through a phone number, through an email address, or you can raise a ticket. You will provide this particular account ID that you can see in the company information page. Alright. Any questions on that company information? No questions. Great. Now let's jump on to the enable features. You can see the enable features option. On the enable features page, you have all these sub-tabs which are called company accounting, tax, transactions items, and inventory employees. Any page, if you have the selections like this to the extreme right, hand side there are two horizontal lines. If you click on these lines, everything will be coming up under one page. I can see the company here. Now, if I scroll down, I'll be able to see the next one, which is my accounting, right? And then scroll down, I'll be able to see the revenue accounting, multi-book accounting. All these are part of the accounting anyways, and then the tax. The use of this is that, I want to search something, right? Let us say I want to search accounting. And if I scroll up to that particular view, which was available earlier, like this, if I click on this, it will be again collapse all and give me this view. But if I want to search accounting and I do this, it won't give me an option which is part of the accounting, which is there in the accounting. It won't show up. Whatever is visible under accounting, I'll have to get into this and then search for accounting. You say 12 options are there. If I get into this view wherein everything will be collapsed, expanded in fact. This is an expanded view wherein if I search for accounting, every accounting will be visible. Like 16 options are there for me, the accounting, right? That is, what is the use of that particular expanded and collapsed view? But then people would prefer having a collapsed view because they will see all these headings up over here. Even if they do not see all the options from the accounting, that's fine. But if they want to do a quick search, then they go into that expanded view, Ctrl F, and then we can search for those options there. Great. Coming to the company sub-tab. Under the company, do you want the departments, locations and classes to be enabled? What is a department? There are 5 segmentations on NetSuite. The first segmentation is your subsidiary, which is a legal entity. Whenever let us say your customer has their presence in 3 states in the United States, like in California, one in New York, the other one in New Jersey or, Arizona, whatever it is. They have these legal entities defined in 3 different states. They create one legal entity for each state. I can go into the subsidiary view. They can go into the subsidiary view, and this is how you can create. My subsidiary is the main branch. This is a parent subsidiary for which I will not have any transactions. However, all these 4 subsidiaries that I see as the child subsidiaries, all the transactions on them, all the financials on them would actually roll up to my parent subsidiary. Just to be clear, right? The parent subsidiary would not have any transactions that will post anything directly to the parent subsidiary. Exactly. That is absolutely correct. Any transactions that you are going to do on these child subsidiaries would roll up to your parent subsidiaries. It's not that you cannot have something on the parent subsidiary, but then usually that is how it is defined. All the subsidiaries and everything, they actually are defined on the child subsidiaries only. Alright. This subsidiary logo is actually selected, but somehow, oh, there you go. It's displaying now. You see this. There's a little logo because in the company information, it was not selected as display logo internally. I have selected this And that is the reason you see the logo here. This was not displayed earlier, but since I have selected the display logo internally, I'm able to see the logo over here. And also, I'm pretty sure on the pages is also the logo should be visible for us. On the pages, hold on. What logo? Company logo pages. Select the logo to be displayed on all pages for the subsidiary. What do they mean by pages? I don't know what do they mean by that. But the logo can be visible on the pages and on the home page as well. Let's close down this. Let's close down company information. I was talking about the subsidiaries. If I go to this list again and if I select the child subsidiary baby car ride. On this, my main parent subsidiary is listed down as the parent subsidiary. And the internal ID is displayed over here if you see. That is the main segmentation that we have for the subsidiary. We'll get back to the subsidiaries. We will see how the subsidiaries are created and everything. But I just wanted to show you the first main segmentation, which is your subsidiary. And then comes your departments, classes and locations. If you scroll down again, if you want these to be available, like your divisions, classes and sales channel, why are they called? Here I see them as departments, classes. But when I go here, I see them as divisions and sales classes. The reason behind that is there is something called as rename records and send transactions. If I go in here and if I search my location, right, it is named. My department is named as division. My class is named as sales channel. That is the reason they are visible like that. I can change them. NetSuite gives an option to the customers that maybe for the past 10 years or they've been calling their departments as divisions and their classes as sales channels. It gives an option for them to rename these records and transactions, not only the departments, location and classes, but they can rename a lot of transactions over there. Now you see them. They've become departments, classes and locations, right? If you go back to your rename records transactions, there are a lot of other options as well, like in vendor. Maybe they do not want to call them a vendor, a customer. Maybe they want to call them as clients, right? They can rename them as clients, name for company, name for lead, prospect, partner, and issue or anything that they want to rename. They can actually come here and do this. Maybe they do not want to call this as an assembly bill. Rather, they might want to call this as a work order, right? They can rename. But then we do not want them to touch these abbreviations which are there on the extreme right hand side because these things are used in scripting. Just in case, if they want to do some scripting on those assembly bills and assembly unbills, these are the abbreviations which are used. We advise them not to touch these abbreviations, but they can change the names at their will. Whatever they want to call them, they can actually do that. Maybe they do not want to call it as a blanket purchase order. Maybe they just want to call it as blanket PO. They probably can rename that to whatever they want to. Likewise, You also have the account type names like accounts receivable. They may not want. They want to call it as AR only, right? And accounts payable AP. They do not want maybe the complete abbreviation. They do not want it. They can rename records of any transactions that they want to do on NetSuite from this particular page. That's about the rename records transactions. Now let us go back to our enable features. I have enabled departments, locations and classes. What is a department? In an organization, you can have multiple departments like an HR, the admin, the IT department, the HR department, right? All these are the departments which you can actually define here. You can scroll down and pull the list of departments that you have here. How come they're back as divisions and sales channels? I don't know. This is strange. I might have to refresh this page, and that is the reason it's showing up. The enable features have been on that page for a while, and that's the reason they're not showing up. If I scroll down now, alright, I go to my departments and I can see the list of departments. I can go to the classes and I can open up my locations. Right. If I go in here again, these are visible as divisions. I think it's taking some time for it to load. I don't know why. Whatever. Maybe this subsidiary is built. You know, the business is built on a hospital. You know, industry. That is the reason you have the departments of cardiology, general medicine, neurology. You know, you can have maybe as ophthalmology and then endocrinology. All these things you can have as different, right? Any items that you define can actually be categorized into different classes. Let us say you have hardware items, you can have software items, you can have mechanical items, you can have your furniture, right? That way, you can differentiate between your items based on the classes. I'm not able to log in. That is about your classes, right? And coming to your departments, classes and locations. Location is a physical warehouse, right? You can have your legal entity in 3 different states. And in those 3 different states, you might have like 5 locations in each of the legal entity, right? A physical warehouse where the inward and outward movement of your goods actually happen. That is what is your location all about. When you define your classes, departments and locations, these will be available for selection on each of the transactions that you do. Let that be at the item level, or when you are creating your purchase order, or when you are creating your sales order, when you are creating your journal entries, when you are creating your fixed assets. These options, right? The classes department is location will be available each time that you actually create these transactions. That is about your classifications. Any questions on that? I do have a question. My new employer, they have entities, right? But instead of setting up a subsidiary for each entity, they are currently using the locations to track those entities. When I resume, my goal is to set those entities up properly, as independent subsidiaries, companies. Can you just speak to that? Like, you know how to go about all that? You know what I need to do differently? The one wall and all that. Because I know it's a big challenge. Because right now the locations, The way they are using it, they are actually independent entities or subsidiary. Let me just be very, very clear. They have operations in the US, in the UK, in Germany, in Singapore. Those are separate entities. As far as I'm concerned, they should be set up independently as subsidiaries that we have a parent company. But right now, all of those independent entities are set up as locations because, in the literal meaning of location, right? Those are locations today because UK is a location. How do we go about fixing that? How do we go about correcting that? Because I think that's one of the big issues. What I suggest is you have to speak with their business champions first of all. Whoever is doing business in those locations, you've got to get them on a call. You have to speak with them and you have to understand their business process. Right? You've got to define those physical entities first, which are your legal entities actually, which will be your subsidiaries. Let us say you have UK, Singapore and US subsidiaries. Right then, while creating the locations, right, I go into new location. And let us say I've got 5 locations for Singapore, 5 locations for UK and another 5 for United States. Sorry, Katie. Right now, they don't have any other locations within those countries. In those countries, they only have just one office. That's one location, right? We don't even need that location really. In the US, that's just that they don't have any other offices. Just one office in the US, one office in Singapore, one office in UK, and one office in Germany, right? All those offices are set up as locations right now, just within one instance. I don't know if I'm making sense. Do you get what I'm saying? I hear what you said. What I suggest is, instead of having no locations at all, I suggest that you create one location for each entity, right? You can create one location for Singapore and tag it to the, subsidiary over here, Singapore subsidiary. And then you can create another location for the UK and tag that particular subsidiary here. And then you can create one location for the United States and tag the United States subsidiary over here. By doing that, what happens is your entities will be separated with the physical warehouses, right? They might have the operations doing in the same location. Let us say they just have one, right? Even if they have one office, you can actually segregate the legal entity with the location, right? Whenever you are creating a purchase order, you will select the location, and when you select the vendor is tagged with the subsidiary. Let us say there are 100 vendors for the Singapore location that they usually do the business with. When you select that particular vendor, you will have a selection of that particular location from the Singapore subsidiary available on that particular purchase order, the location. The other location will not be available when the subsidiary gets defaulted from that location. I think maybe as we go, this is something we are going to dive deeper into. But what I'm saying is, if you go back to your purchase orders, let us say you are doing your purchase order and then I select a vendor on my purchase order. When I do that, the subsidiary gets defaulted. Laura, I select and the subsidiary Canada is getting defaulted. You see this? Right? Instead of leaving this location blank, you can enable the location and then only the locations under my Canada will be visible for me, only for the Canada that will be available. Which means, let us say I consider the subsidiary of Singapore, right? When I select the vendor from Singapore, the subsidiary gets defaulted as Singapore and the location will be a Singapore location that you can select because the Singapore location will be tagged to the Singapore subsidiary over here. That makes sense. And then you can make this as inventory available that we are, indicating to the system that this is a physical warehouse where my stock is available, where I can invert the stock and I can fulfill my stock when I'm doing the sales orders. In this case, In this case, my employer is a service company. We don't have inventories. We just, oh, perfect. Then you don't have to select this make inventory available option. Perfect, good, all right. Since it is just services, you do not have the physical goods movement, which is fine. You don't need to make this inventory available. But then non-inventory items can be tagged with these locations as well. The main purpose of having this department, class and location is the segmentation for the reporting. Whenever you do the financial reporting, right, you can actually filter it by department. You can filter it by class. You can filter it by location and see what exactly is my income, what's the balance statement, and all that information can be done when you are doing the reporting. There is an option where you can filter out everything based on the location, class, department, and your subsidiary as well. Makes sense. One more question. Hey Lee, when we're talking about the parents and subsidiary, I think we're still going to have a session on that. But you mentioned that the parents does not have any transaction, all that, which is fine. Or maybe when we get to the company, we can have transactions at the parent level if possible. But let's not even leave that. But that parent, when you're setting up the parent company, are you not going to specify the EI number or the tax ID for that parent entity, or is it blank? Very good question. Actually, the company information would be just one thing. It is not entity specific or it is not a legal entity specific. The company information is just one page and you will have that information only for the parent company. That's it. You will not have it for all different subsidiaries, separate legal entities. It doesn't matter how many legal entities you have, but the company information, the main company information would just be one. The name of the company is just one name of the company, wherein you will specify the EI number and SSN number. You will not have the EN SSN for different legal entities. For different subsidiaries, they won't be available. For the main company, only it will be available, and that is what is your parent subsidiary. This is interesting, right? Because what I expect to happen is going back to this example which I mentioned. We have operations in the US. Has its own EN number. We register the company in London. London will give us their home number. Whatever that number is called, the tax ID number. We registered the entity also in Germany. We should have a number. And we registered the company as well in Singapore. Each of those 4 entities, for them to be an entity, it means that they have been registered for tax purposes in those separate countries. I would think that for the US. Subsidiary, we have the tax ID Singapore, tax ID UK, and Singapore. But when we get to the consolidation level, which is like the parent's company, that parent's company may not have any tax ID because I'm thinking that that parent entity for NetSuite is just for consolidation purpose. It's not really like a separate entity itself. Because in the case of the US, right, for this company, right, US is actually the headquarters. That would be the parent's company because that is where we consolidate all the reporting and all that. But in addition to the US, they have Singapore, UK and Germany. I'm just trying to understand that. Do we specify those tax ADs which will exist the other way? And when we also get to the company level, do we also specify the same tax ID, which in this case will be the US? Because is considered as a subsidiary and now it's also going to be like the parent's company. Are we going to repeat the tax ID there or how? On NetSuite, we consider only one parent company for which we define the company information page. However, the other things that you're talking about, if you have a legal entity in, let's say, Singapore and in UK, everything has to report to one parent company, which will be right. and the tax structure is defined separately for each country. I'll show you when we discuss about the tax structure. If you scroll down onto the accounting, there's something called tax structure, in which you have tax codes, in which you have your different forms of setup taxes, nexuses, control accounts, and all these things. We will discuss all these in detail for different countries. You can use different state tax tables, right? And you can have your tax types and control accounts created for each of your country, which can be used based on the zip code. NetSuite automatically picks up these tax control accounts and the tax types from the Setup Taxes page. Are we saying now that is complete information? Because remember that when we were talking, we said we're going to create. Nothing comes up from the company information. This is only an information page. Only an information page. But I see this field for social security number or tax ID number, which I can choose to specify either way. You can specify, right? I mean, it's just for information page on the NetSuite company information page that you will specify. And these are not mandatory, by the way. If you see, these are blank right now. But these are just the information page purpose and they're not used for any tax calculations on NetSuite. The entire tax calculations happens only based on the nexus, based on the tax codes, and based on the tax types and the control accounts that you define in the control. You know in the tax structure that's available here. This is your NetSuite instance, the home page. And let us start with the shortcuts. This is a global search. This is called as a global search. On NetSuite, right, any record that you have, any transaction that you have, you can actually search in the global search directory. Now let us say I want to search for a customer. Let us see what is the name of the customers that we have here. That let us say Device Electricals is one of the customers that we have. Just type in the first few letters and you will get whatever you have. You know, it might be a customer, it might be an item, or it might be a navigation that you can see. Everything, all the options that you have will be visible over here. This is a device ID is a page you know in Setup Integration Device ID. I just typed in device and then you will find everything that is listed under device. Right? You can search it this way as well, that it brings up everything which has device in front of it and you know towards the end. As not only that, but you can search anything except for chart of accounts, right? If you have, you know, something called as accounts receivable, you will not be able to find that over here. That's not, you know, only the chart of accounts will not be visible, but rest of the things are almost everything that you search here will be visible. And let us say you've got a little, additional results, right? This is how it shows up as show all results. The first 10 results will be visible here. And then if you click on the show results, it will display everything that comes up with that subsidiary part, right? It cannot display like 50 results at a time, right? That is the reason you will have show all option listed down here. And then coming to your help part. How does this help work? Now, this is a customized help topic. Now, let us say you want to know the help about entering the purchase orders. You can go to the purchase order page and then click on help, right? It will directly navigate you to the purchase orders page. that you don't have to search for what you want here. Let us say you want to enter the sales orders. In that case, right? Maybe opportunity. You go to the opportunity page and click on the help topic over there, and then it directly navigates you to the opportunity records and everything that is listed down for an opportunity, right? Creating an opportunity using opportunity sales forecasting. Everything will be visible over here when you are using that particular help topic over there. Just quickly write. I have to go to the page first before clicking on help, right? That's right. I mean, you don't have to go there. You can directly click on the help as well. But if you go to a particular page and then click on help, then it will navigate you to that particular help directly, right? You can do this as well. You can be on the home page and click on the help too. That will actually navigate to the help center and everything. And you can search here if you want to enter a purchase order, right? You can do that as well. It will take you to all the centralized purchase orders, anything listed down for purchase orders, it will be visible for you. But if you go from a page directly, if you're going in from, let us say, the chart of accounts page. I go to the chart of accounts and then I click on the help. This will take me to the help topic of the chart of accounts. Got. Right. Now, since we are on the help center page, what we'll do is we will see everything which is available for us on the help. This is the language that you can select. The language changes to English. This is the table of contents wherein everything would be listed down. Whatever is a part of the help, like auto management, field service, management projects, marketing, Salesforce, automation, every topic, help topic would be available for you in the help page. That is one. And then there's something called a suite answers, right? These are the suite answers which are provided by experts on NetSuite. There are many articles, there are many suite answers that you can actually see when you are, getting into the suite answers. You can search your question over there. Let us say you're stuck with NetSuite somewhere. Like probably you are doing an item receipt, but you're getting an error. You can type what the error is in the suite answers page, and that will throw all possible responses from all the experts across the world for your suite answers. There are suite answer IDs as well, which you can refer to. Something like this. I can say stuck with landed cost or any topic that you want. You can just type it and then you will get all the responses that you can find for the suite answers. Right. You've got video articles about that. You've got your announcements. You have your release notes. Right. Suite World presentations, how that works. Everything is listed down over here. Makes sense. That's about the suite answers. Now let's go back to the help center again. And there are certain training videos as well. Right. You can click on, let us say you want to know about accounting. Right. You can click on the accounting part and you will find most of the videos which are there. The bank feeds, app overview, match bank data. You've got auto creating transactions for reconciliation. You have a whole lot of videos available across all the modules and all the topics. Any topic that you want to check it out, you can just type you can get onto this videos page and then you can search for those videos over here. Now, along with that, there are extensive user guides as well. This is the user guides. All I can say is, if you want a user guide about, let us say, fixed assets, right? There you go. You will like 900 to 800 pages documentation just about a topic that you have. 750 pages is for fixed assets, right? You will have all the best practices, everything that is listed down as part of the fixed assets management overview, as part of the purchase orders, sales orders, anything, and including the videos. If you click on this, the video will be playing for the fixed assets management overview that you have here. See this? I mean, you don't have to go into a YouTube and search for those videos, but everything which is, a lease modification, right? Everything has got its own videos in this particular documentation guides. You have extensive documentation for Project 360, Projects Guides, electronic bank payments, financials guides, order to cash, procure to pay, banking guides, advanced procurement, any you name it, and you will find that everything along with the glossary and the network basics guide. You have the basics guide as well, how to navigate on NetSuite, how to, do certain stuff. Everything is visible for you on this user guides part. And these are all PDFs, by the way, right? You can click on those, you can download them, and you can save it on your computer as and when you want. You can actually review them as well. When you click on this general accounting guide, a PDF opens up again. You can download this PDF. You see this. This is a 438-page general accounting that you have for NetSuite. Some other times while doing the implementations, right, you might have to provide certain documentation for your customers, like in a functional requirement document or a guide. Maybe for a fixed assets management guide. You do not want to provide a 150-page fixed assets management guide. Right. And then, pick up certain stuff, make your own guides and send them across to the customers. Makes sense. That's about the guides over there. And there you go. This is a part of a new release. Every 6 months there is a new release that gets posted on NetSuite, right? You can click on these release notes and whatever is new in that particular release, whatever are the enhancements which are provided, will be listed down in this release preview notes that you have here. Got it. That's about the new releases. And then the Suite apps. If you click on the Suite apps, this will provide you most of the Suite apps that NetSuite actually supports. There are many Suite apps, like the accounting Suite apps, maybe the accounting administration Suite apps. All these things, you already have them available over there. All the Suite apps, right, are these applications that connect directly with NetSuite. These Suite apps are built in for NetSuite. Whatever vanilla version that you get out of NetSuite, like the auto management, the record report, or the marketing stuff, those will be the basics of NetSuite that you have in the vanilla version. However, there are a lot of other Suite apps which you can actually build on top of NetSuite. I mean building in the sense, all you got to do is go there and install them. That's it. Where exactly can you find them? If you go to customization and then if you see your Suite bundler and then these things, you can find the Suite apps listed down in the Suite app marketplace. You click on this and all the Suite apps which are supported by NetSuite are listed down, for the advertising, for ERP services, for the IT services, manufacturing. Let us say you want to install a bank feed Suite app, right? This is for bank reconciliation. You can search bank feeds and then it will give you the bank feeds automatically. You click on this and then install. That's it. Is this free or do I have to pay for it? Very good question. Not all Suite apps are free. Yes, bank feeds is free, right? But not all Suite apps are free. They would not be available for installation, but a preview would be available, and you have to get in touch with the vendor to understand what exactly is the cost of that particular Suite app, how that works, and everything. Got it. That's one thing. These are all the available Suite apps. Let us say you have a Let us say you click on Electronic Business Suite app. This is also free, I guess. There are certain things. During my implementation, right? You know the implementations that I do for NetSuite. Probably I must have used like 10 to 12 Suite apps, not more than that, right? In my, 5 years of NetSuite experience that I have, mostly the Suite apps are repeated. There is something called as NetGain, alright? NetGain Suite app is one thing which we use for the shared transactions. We used to have a shared vendor bill concept earlier on NetSuite that has been removed from the NetSuite. Now we cannot share the vendor bills. That is the reason there is a NetGain Suite app. This actually comes as part of, with the cost, right? Since this is a sandbox account, it is available for us to install. But if you are searching for these Suite apps in production, then it will show you. You know what is available. Now you've got to pay for those Suite apps and then install them on your NetSuite instance. That is about the Suite apps and then training. You know you've got certain videos for the training as well. Education services. Certain training needs are there. And then you also can, search for these certifications. In fact, right? If you can search for the certifications, or you would get some sample documents for each certification that you want to do on NetSuite. You can scroll down. There you go. If you can click on this NetSuite certification, it will take you to a screen wherein if you just scroll down, you would find all the information about the certification that you need to do. You know what? All certification, the Suite Foundation, right? There's a sample test, there's an exam guide as well, and then administrator certification, ERP consultant certification. This is for the technical guys where you have the application developer certification, web services developer certification, right? All these are, there are like 7 or 8 certifications that can be done on NetSuite. And for each certification, you will have a sample paper and you will have, an exam study guide as well. If you go through this exam study guide, most of the stuff which is available here would actually, it will be helpful when you are giving the examinations, right? That's about the certification there. Let's go back to our help topic. Did we miss out on anything? I don't think. I think I've covered most of it, which is available on the homepage, right? Even before you log into NetSuite, you have many options here. Like what exactly is a customer service with the NetSuite, your resource centers, right? All these things you can actually, there are certain events like the Suite World, Suite Connect, right? What happens in these Suite Worlds and Suite Connects? How many countries does NetSuite support? like the America, Asia Pacific, Europe, Middle East and Africa, Brazil, Mexico and United States, Canada. These are all the countries that NetSuite has its presence in. Got it. It's great. Let's go back to our page here. And the little option that you have here are this is a shortcut that you can put in your transactions, your favorite transactions. Probably, let's say you are a purchase clerk, right? In that case, you do not need the customer. You do not need your opportunity sales orders, but you want to have the purchase orders and everything. You can click on this personalized option. And then you can, choose what to have and what not to. Anything that you want. Blanket purchase order maybe. You can select that and then remove the sales or sales order that you do not need. And if you save it, the blanket purchase order would be visible for you whenever you come in here. And the sale order is removed. Is that tied in any way to the user rights or to the user roles? Well, that's a good question again. If you do not have access permission levels using the role, then even if you have, pulled in this information, it will not be. The page wouldn't be coming up. That's one other thing. Now, in this little option that you have here, if you go into the personalization, right, there are a very few options that you can select and move around, right? Maybe like about 20, only sales team, and all these things. You cannot add the additional ones that you would like to have. However, there's one more thing which is almost similar to the shortcut, which is called as the favorites. If you click on this, add to shortcuts, right. Now this actually will have a lot of options. Hold on. Let us say you want to go into the purchase orders. Enter purchase orders and then you say add to shortcuts. If you save this, it will be automatically added to the shortcuts like this. What happened? There you go. You can set up the shortcuts later on by adding anything. If you can move around whatever you add. As of now, I've added purchase orders. Likewise, I can also say I want to add the requisitions as well. I go to the requisitions page. Go here and say add to shortcuts. I can do this and I want to have it in a different page as well. I can open that in a different window too. You say this, everything gets added over here and there is no limit to this. You can add as many shortcuts as you want. It's not something like a quick navigation that you have here. Certain options are only available. But then with the add to shortcuts, you can have a lot of other stuff as well. That's one thing. And then this is your recent records. All recent transactions that you open, you can actually click on this. Somebody has opened the sales order a little while ago, right? The top 10 transactions would be visible here. You don't have to go to navigation always, right? You can click on this sale order and then it'll take you to that page directly. All the recent transactions. That's the reason you have a little timer symbol over here. And whatever you've opened recently will be available for you to access from there. Makes sense. That's one thing. And then on the home page, we've covered these two things. And well, this is where it says Oracle NetSuite. This is where a customer can actually put up a logo. And that particular logo will actually be available as part of the images. You can upload your images over here. And while setting up your subsidiary, I go into Setup Company. Navigate down to my subsidiaries. There you go. And let's see the new subsidiary page. I'll explain all the subsidiaries in detail a little while. After a little while. But this is where you have these logos. You see them. Subsidiary logo form. If you click on this new page, and then you can upload from the images folder. Whatever folder that you have here, you can upload that any image of your choice from your computer. And then that particular logo will be visible right next to this Oracle NetSuite over here. Likewise, you can have the logo visible on all the pages as well. Not only on the home page, but any transaction that you go into, let's say purchase orders or sale orders or any other transaction that you go into, the logo can be added over there. There is an option actually. On the subsidiary, there were two options. One is a homepage logo. The other one is a transaction logo. You can enter all those images over there. And then you will be able to find them. Makes sense. That's great. And let's get into the dashboard then. Alright. This is a home dashboard wherein you will be able to move around the portlets. Right. These are called, the portlets wherein you have your subsidiary navigator. You have your reminders. You can move around these navigators and all. You can place your reminders over here. You can actually, put in all your top 5 items by sold. But this is a little, bigger portlet that you have. Probably you want to have it, here. And you might want to have the quick search bringing out over here. This is how you can move across your portlets that you have there. This is how you expand your portlets. And also there is something called as personalized. If you click on this personalized option, there might be a few things that you want to bring down like a calendar. Maybe you do not have a calendar portlet down here, I suppose. If there is no calendar, there you go. It's not there. You can bring down the calendar onto your main page and then drag and drop. The calendar is here. You can have certain custom portlets, custom search KPI meters, report snapshots. Right. You can bring them down and then as and when you want, you can actually use them over here. The shortcuts you may not want to have the shortcuts over here, right? You can remove that from here. No need to have the shortcuts over here because the shortcuts is already available for us here. This is the shortcuts page, right? And these are the suite apps again. Maybe we do not have access since this is a sandbox. We usually say suite apps. Whatever are installed in the instance will be visible over here. If you are not able to see them here, then you can actually go into customization. This is an installed suite app list that you can have. You go into this list. It will. As of now, there are no suite apps at all. It may not be visible for us over here. That's about your portlets, and this is the layout page. How do you want to have this? Do you want them side by side or, do you want a shorter one on the left hand side and a bigger one on the right hand side? Or, do you want everything as single columns? Then you know not columns, actually rows. Then this is how the layout will be used. Got. That's about your personalizing part. They're talking about the reminders. You can set up your reminders by clicking on setup and say that I want to see my bills to approve, bills to pay, and I want to see customers to bill. I want to see my purchase orders to approve or orders to fulfill. All these options will be there. And if you click on this show reminders with 0 results, right? Even if there are no results at all, even if there are no quotes to print or bills to pay, then it will show you 0 as an option over here. But if there are 2 bills to pay, you see this. Right? These are the reminders which you can set up as part of your day-to-day routine if you are a purchase clerk, right? Or if you are a finance guy, then you want to see the bills to pay and invoices to payments to receive. All these things you can set up as reminders over here. Can I also set up like journal entries to approve? Absolutely, you can. If you go into the setup, if no, just in case, if you do not have the option here, right? Let us say journal entries to approve is not available for you here. What you can do is you can go into transactions, go into your journal entries, right? You can go to the journal entries and do a saved search. This is how you navigate and create a saved search for your journal entries. You can either go from there or you can go to the, saved search directly, like, going to reports, say new search. You can click on new search and then you can select the journal entries from there. Now, if you navigate from the journal entries directly, then it will create your saved search directly on your journal entries. While doing this, what you can do is you can click on this more options and then you say, I want this to be available for reminders. Remind. And then you say journal entries to approve. And you can create your own criteria for this. I say that whatever journal entry status is, maybe like this approval status, right? Hold. I can filter it. I am doing the Control F. I select it and I do a Control F. That will take me to this approval status directly. I can say whatever is pending approval, right? Any journal entry which is a pending approval. Right now I want to be showing up as part of this search. Got it. And I said that I want to show it in menu. I want to show it as a sublist view as well. I want to make it public. If you do not make it public, it will not be available again. This is a search that you create. And then you can go back to your portlet. Refresh this. If you click on Setup Now, the journal entry to approve would be available for you. See this? And then there is a little C in front of this, which means this is a custom saved search that we have created. All these are standard. Right. And this is a custom journal entry that you have. I can save this. And where is that? Why has it not come up? Hold. Check this. Usually it shows up. I don't know. Why is it not working for us right now? But let me remove this and then we'll put it again. But that's how it works. Two bills to pay. There you go. It's showing up now. Let's close this down. Set up. See what are the reminders. There you go. Beautiful. This is how you set it up. Not only for the journal entries, but anything that you want to show as part of your reminders. You can set it up this way. You can build your saved searches and then you can, pull them onto your reminders saying that they should be available for your reminders and then they will be available as a custom saved search that you have created. Got it? That's great. Now, the other thing is that I can pull these settings onto the left hand side. There's a lot of other things that we have to discuss about the settings. Let's see that. 1 second. Why am I not able to pull that? Oh, I think I did. Settings. No, I was not able to. It's a really big one and that's the reason I'm not able to do that. But usually it should. There you go. Once you find that dotted lines, that's when it actually moves across. These are the personalized dashboard settings, which means these are the user level preferences, user level security questions, user level change passport option, change email option that you have over there. When you set up your employees on NetSuite, you go to lists, relationships, the employees and the new employee. Right. Here, you would actually provide the email address that this particular employee is going to use to log in. This is where you provide the email address. The user can actually go into this change email option. And just in case if the email address is, my email that I have for this login is sartmichalod1@regmail.com. They can change the email address with the current password. They have to give what is the current password and then update the email address accordingly. We're not going to change that as of now because it messes up things and we will not be able to log in if we change the email. And this is where you change the password. When you are setting up the employees, right, you scroll down, go to the access page. There's something called as access. You click on this. Home. And here is where you give access. You can send a notification email. Now, if you want to set up a password manually, you can do that as well. Let us say you want to set it up as welcome@123 or something. Right. Home. You can do that and the password will be sent across to the employee. That you can actually do. But if you do not want to set up the manual password, then that's fine. You can actually get rid of this. I delete this. And I can get rid of this manually assigned password. And then they have to click on required password change on the next login. That when you set it up manually, they can use that particular password, but it will prompt them to change the password later on as soon as they log in. And this is where you select the roles. Let that be an administrator. You can have multiple roles. By the way, It's not that you need to have just one role. You can give a bookkeeper role or a buyer or a seller, right? Any role of your choice can be given to these users. We will discuss about roles and all these things in detail when we are discussing permissions and everything. Here, I just wanted to show you how to add the roles and global permissions. That is how you change the password for the user. Then this is the same search that we came across. Let's close out that. And I will go through the same searches once again. I just show you how to set it up on the that's fine. Now the important part is that clicking on personalized dashboard, it will take you to the same personalized option that you see here. Got it, got it. And then set preferences. If you click on this, set preferences, these are the user level preferences. These are not the company-wide preferences that you need to have. Now I can set my nickname. I can this is a from email address that I can set it up that whatever transactions that I do, if I'm sending out, if I want my NetSuite to send out the notification email to my customers, my vendors and everything, I can specify the email address over here. And then I can also put in my signature in those emails. You can add the signature to messages, right? And then search sorting. Do you want the language specific? But do you want it as English? You can set up your time zones, right? You can set up what is the first day of the week for you, right? And very important thing, this is the format that you can set up. You know the date format, long date format, whatever you want. However, if an administrator wants to restrict this, like the number format is grayed out right now. The reason behind this is there is something called as general preferences, which is under setup company general preferences. You go here. And if you scroll down, a phone number is what we have seen, right? If you see this phone number format, we are not allowing the override. Likewise, what I can do is date format. I do not want them to change date format, neither long date format, right? I'm not allowing the users to do this. We will check the general preferences in detail once again when we come back there. But now if I refresh my page, see this. It's now blank. An administrator would be able to control these things. The date format, the long date format, or anything that they do not want to give access to the user, right? Maybe the number format as well. We do not want them to use the number format of their choice. There should be a uniform number format across the organization, right? Right. In that case, you can actually grade this out as well. That makes sense. Calendar system. Of course, that is grayed out as well. First day of the week, you might want to, grade that out as well. And CSV column delimiter, which means whenever you're doing a CSV imports, this is exactly what you need to do. It should be a comma separated delimiter that you can place over here. Makes sense. Alright, that's about a few of the options that you have. How do you want to, do you want to download the PDF files? That is one of the preferences that you can set up, right? And show internal IDs. Whenever you go into a transaction, let us say you go into the chart of accounts like accounts. This internal IDs will be visible only if you select that particular preference over there. Now, if I remove this and save it, I go back to my chart of accounts and refresh them. You can see the internal ID here. But quick question, Leo. What's the internal ID? Perfect. Any transaction that you do on NetSuite, any master data that you import, let that be chart of accounts, vendors, customers, items, non-inventory items, anything that you do on NetSuite, automatically NetSuite generates an internal ID. For each transaction, the system generates an internal ID. The reason behind that is you might want to update your transactions later on, right? You might want to update your deferred revenue. And then instead of putting in the name the transaction name, you can actually use the internal ID and change that directly using you can do a whale of that and pull in the internal ID. And with the internal ID, you can directly change that, which is a little easier. The reason behind that is, I'll let you know what is the reason. When you go to the chart of account, you see this gas and oil, right? This is a child of automobile expense, right? If I view this, gas and oil is actually a child of automobile expense. If you want to. Now, if at all you want to make change using the name of this account, you know how it works. You have to put this year 22. Don't use gas and oil. Come on. Right. And then if it is a child of subsidiary, then this is how it needs to be there. You do not want to do this, right? If you want to update this gas and oil as a chart of account, then this is how you have to place the name, because you have to. You need to pull in the subsidiary, not the subsidiary, the parent chart of account over there. And then this is how you need to do it. Rather, instead of doing this, what you can do is under the set preferences, you can say, I show the internal IDs. And then while mapping, you can actually put in this internal ID for this gas and oil, whatever you have. Let us say this is the internal ID 49. You just and then do it. You don't have to put in the entire name like this. Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. Right. That's what your internal ID is all about. And even if you do not pull in this internal ID, you can pull it from the saved search. It's not that if you show the internal ID, only then it will be visible. No, it doesn't work that way. You can create a saved search and pull the internal IDs, wherein you can, under the results tab, you can pull in the internal ID and then make it available as well. That's one thing. Let's go back to our preferences again. And then, do you want to show only the last sub-account wherein the parent-child relation is there? Do you want to show only the last sub-entity, which you do not want to do, right? Probably you need to see the parent as well. Usually that is not checked. Never. Default issue email notification, on any change. When base status is open like this, you can actually set up the preferences of your choice. Number of rows in list segments right. What this means, let us say you want to go in tour. You're creating a customer. On the customer, you have certain drop down. The category, these are all the drop downs that you have the primary subsidiary. How many lists that you want to show initially, and then does it have to go to the next page, right? If there are 200 list segments in each one, then 50 will be shown first. You can click on next. It will go to the next 50, and the other ones. Similarly, maximum entries in the drop down. Any drop downs that you have, what is the maximum entries that you want that should be shown? Allow the favorites and drop downs type head on list fields. You can go through these. I know that we are going through each and every field which is available, right? One other good aspect about NetSuite is that if you do not know what this does, maximum entries and drop downs, right? There's a little field help that you have here. Hover over to that and click on this, and it'll open the field help. And then you can see enter the maximum number of records you want to appear in drop down list. When a list has reached limit set here, the list will populate in a window of its own. The highest number you can enter is 500. There are some exceptions of this rule. Every field, there is a field help that you can actually click on this and read through what exactly each field does. Right? That's one wonderful feature about NetSuite. And coming to the appearance, right? You can choose your color theme. You can choose your screen font, Georgia Tech, or any color theme that you want. Let us say you want to have the Colorado University. If you save it, it automatically changes your appearance. And this is at the user level again. That's how you can change your color theme. The screen fonts can be changed. You can have your density setting for Internet Explorer right. Chart, themes, centers and dashboard. What will be your landing page once you log in? Do you want a home page or documents or customization? There are a few options available. You can actually select any one of those that whenever the user logs in, then it will automatically take them to the landing page that has been selected over here. Entry form. Do you want to limit entry forms to 2 columns or do you want it, beyond 2 columns? You can actually do that as well. And one other thing is appearance. Since you are in an administrator role right now, there is one more option that you can actually see that in the appearance page if you're in a different login. Let us say you are an AP clerk, right? If that AP clerk role is assigned to you, there is something called as Use Classic Interface. There will be one option which will be visible under this centers and dashboards. You can select that Use Classic Interface. What happens is when you have a different role, or let me do one thing. I'll assign myself another role right now. And probably I can show that to you. The role. Role is not visible for me right at this point in time. It might take some time for it to get updated in the training tenant, but if it is in production or sandbox, then directly it gets updated. All you've got to do is just log out and log in. All I wanted to show was this center tab that you have here will vary as per the role. In the AP clerk role, you will not have all these options. However, you can choose to have that under the appearance. You can choose to have a classic interface, right? Whenever you select that particular classic interface, then everything, the look and feel, is going to change like an administrator. However, under the transactions, the AP clerk is not going to have access to sales and customers, right? These things will not be available. The other things will be there, but the navigation and all would still be the same like an administrator. But of course, whatever is a role and commission for that particular user, only those will be available. Any questions on that? No questions for that. That's great. That's about the appearance coming under the transactions. Duplicate number warnings. What do you want to do? Do you want to warn UI only? Do you want to block, or do you just want to ignore? Ignore in the sense no warnings at all. That's about analytics. Analytics. Do you want to show the reports in the grid or do you want to customize the fonts on financial reports? All these things you can do. I think I forgot to mention one other thing. Let me go back to the dashboard. Here you are actually seeing the results, right? If you scroll down, you have your calendar, bank reconciliation summary. 1 second. You can actually view your reports as a graph as well. There is one more option that you will have. Give me a second. I want to show something. Where is it? Where is it? You will have an option wherein you can see everything you need. Graph format as well. I'm just trying to check out. Where is that option? What are you looking for? What application are you looking for? What are you looking for? I was just looking for this trend graph. Trend graph. This is a sales trend graph that I have here. And you will be able to view everything as a graph. This is how you can see. And you can see that as pie chart as well. You can see that horizontally, vertically, and graph-wise too. You can print the chart, you can download the images, and all these things can be done as well. Just wanted to show that to you. Show list when only one result is there. Quick search uses keywords, pop-up search uses keywords. All these are some of the user preferences that you can actually maintain. Do you want it as PDF page, orientation as portrait or landscape, right? And PDF font size, what's going to be your PDF font size whenever you want to print your PDF. All these options you will have available accounting. Primary, what is your accounting book? All these are your analytic preferences. Going to your activities. You know what's going to be your default priority for the tasks. Any task that has been assigned to you. What's going to be your default priority? Default new phone calls of public right. All these things, you can specify that over here. Now coming to the restrict view. Let us say you are an employee of the fourth subsidiary and you want to have the restriction only to that particular subsidiary. You do not want the transactions to be seen for the other subsidiaries. You can restrict yourself saying that for the division, I just want the cardiology to be visible, right? For the location, I just need the New York location. I do not need anything else. And for the sales channel as well. Now, when you restrict yourself, then the transactions from the other subsidiaries won't be visible to you at all. Which means you have 4 subsidiaries, but you've got nothing to do with the other 3 subsidiaries, right? You're an employee of the 4th subsidiary and you want to see only the records and transactions. Of course, this is done at a role level as well. When you have roles, you can restrict your employees to their subsidiaries, but just in case for a couple of days, I do not want to see that. I am actually an administrator or maybe an AP clerk who works for all the subsidiaries. However, for a couple of days, I want to filter out the transactions that are available only for a certain subsidiary. This is how you can do it. Got. But is this really useful? Because why would you want to restrict yourself from seeing the transactions? The reason behind that is you do not want to restrict yourself. However, if let us say I move in between subsidiaries, right? For a month, I work for one subsidiary in one location. I travel, I go to the second subsidiary, then, probably a couple of months over there, and then I go to the third subsidiary. I stay there. In that case, for 4 subsidiaries, let us say there are 2,000 transactions and I do want to see all those transactions, right? Maybe I just want to see the 500 transactions that are there for the first subsidiary. In that case, when I go there, I just can restrict myself to view only the transactions for that subsidiary, which makes things a little easier for me, correct? That will be one of the use cases why you want to restrict yourself. That makes sense. And this restriction actually can be done at the role level as well. When you are creating a role, there is an option where you can restrict a particular employee only to one subsidiary or to other subsidiaries, or you can select 2 specific subsidiaries and restrict the employee to those 2 subsidiaries only. That can be done as well. When you do that, the transactions, the vendors, the customers, the items from the other subsidiaries, the chart of accounts from the other subsidiaries, all those will not be visible for me. That's the use case business scenario where why do you want to restrict yourself to a particular subsidiary? That makes sense. Alright, I think we have discussed everything in detail about the settings. Publishing the dashboard, right? You can create a dashboard of your choice, and then you can select the roles as an administrator, and you can publish the dashboards to that particular role, that whoever logs in, then that particular dashboard view will be available for them. Go back a second. How did you get here for a second? Sorry, I think I missed time. No problem. You can just click on this home dashboard, and then there's something called a publish dashboard. Got it? You can just click on that. As an administrator, you can set up what all dashboard needs to be available as a classic center and everything, and then you can apply to the tabs and you can apply to the roles that you want and then publish that particular dashboard. Whatever dashboard that you see here will be published to those roles. That's it. If I want to create a dashboard for account receivables, a dashboard for account pay bills, how does all that appear on just one screen? Or how do I publish those separately? Once this dashboard is published, right, you say for one role, you publish the dashboard and then come back again. You make all those changes, publish dashboard, and do it for the second role. Will I be able to see all the dashboards on my own screen as well? Good question. There is a list of dashboards. You can click on that. And then you will see the dashboard. Got it. That makes sense. From the list, I can select which dashboard I want to see. Absolutely. That's correct. All you can do is you can make changes around these portlets. You can change. Maybe the users are not comfortable setting up the dashboards themselves, right? As an administrator, you would make all these changes. Publish the dashboards for all the given roles like a CFO, CEO, an administrator, AP clerk, AR clerk, inventory manager, purchase manager, sales manager. All these dashboards you can create. Publish them for your users. And then you can, if you go to that particular list. Let's see that now. I say I want to publish this dashboard for one of the roles, which is, administrator. There's a vendor dashboard, project dashboard. All these things are there. You can select them, save it. And when you go to the list, that will be visible for you like this. Hope that makes sense. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.